Should we move to the front page of The Sun, Mike? And this story, the latter part of last week, we saw this first dispatch of documents, and now probably, potentially, the most damaging ones.
Potentially, but actually we don't know. I mean, obviously awful things happened to Epstein, who was an evil man and should have faced justice and didn't, which is awful. And his, one-time partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, has gone to prison for 20 years, and that's a very, very good thing. And I think lots of other people will face, I certainly hope lots of other people face justice in the future. The only thing that worries me about this headline is that the front of all the papers this morning is Andrew in sex tape shock, along with Clinton and various others. You read the article. This is all based, apparently, on the testimony of one woman who, in an email in 2016, claimed that these sex tapes existed, and then in 2019 said that they didn't. So we don't really know whether they did or whether they didn't in terms of the actual sex tape. So who knows, basically?
You make a really, really salient point. Now, a lot of people who have said what you've said have been accused of conspiracy theories, but certainly a couple of the ladies that bought that, without going into too much detail, have, yes, changed their stories. But none of this, and I don't have any sympathy for Andrew. I think he's the worst character in the royal family by a mile. But it's focusing some of the names allegedly coming out of here. We heard last week Stephen Hawking. We're hearing Sir Richard Branson. We're hearing somebody suggested King Charles is in it. I mean, and then it becomes this thing, Anna, where everybody throws every name in, right?
Well, that's true. I mean, we've been waiting for this moment for a while. Yeah. More evidence to emerge about this. And of course, there's been the hint of the big names. And the big one that is almost getting lost amid all of this is Clinton. You know,
I did not have
president.
sex with that woman. Oh, right. OK, then, yeah. That was a lie as well, wasn't it? Yeah. It's true. I mean, what happens? Where do we go from here? That's the thing. What happened on the island was appalling. But what do you do? Again, is it another establishment cover-up?
It feels like this story's never going to go away. No. You know, there's going to be more and more drip, but it also feels like you could put probably the name of any male on the planet who was alive at that time into the public debate, and everybody think, oh, well, they were definitely there. You know what I mean? And quite likely, a lot of them were and did awful things, but quite likely there are people's names now in the public sphere associated with Epstein who maybe had nothing to do with it. Or maybe just went for a coffee on the island and knew nothing else. We just don't know.
Well, and don't forget that Epstein himself, he collected people. He specifically collected powerful people to try and, with his own, you know, he had his own ends in mind there. He collected scientists, he collected academics. Because he wanted to pretend that he was himself this big academic. Remember, there was a sort of...
Yes.
He was essentially a con man himself.
A narcissist.
So...
Fascinating. I mean, fascinating is the wrong word. It's not going anywhere, is it?
No, and we'll discuss it much more on this programme.